I think we should never forget that our first line of defense must be solid institutions, solid democratic processes, and we need democratic security. Just think 1 second what would happen if we invest in the next 10 years hundreds of billions in hard security, weapons, military system, without to have solid institutions, effective democratic institutions. Imagine what would happen if in 10 years we have, because of democratic backsliding in Europe, an extremist party winning the elections. That's why we need both. And this divide between hard security and soft security.
The lack of the democracy and rule of law in some Council of Europe member states, for example, in Georgia and Azerbaijan. Are you able to help both of these South Caucasus countries?
First thing I want to mention in this situation, it is that our first line in defense, for the European continent, is democratic security. Is solid institutions, democratic processes, to fight against corruption and to have really stability of the institutions. Why I'm saying this? If we invest a lot in military systems, defense, without to have solid institutions, if we have at the same time democratic backsliding, just imagine what it could mean in a few years when you have a lot of weapons and at the same time an extremist party, maybe a pro-Russian party, who knows, winning the elections. That's why we need both. We need to work on both elements. Hard and soft security, democratic security must be taken together. About what you are asking for the South Caucasus, stability in the South Caucasus is extremely important. We are with the Council of Europe working a lot on this with the countries. I commend the peace process between Azerbaijan and Armenia. I had the pleasure and honor to have the Prime Minister of Armenia recently for 2 days in Strasbourg, exactly in this context. Had yesterday and also 1 week ago conversations with the President of Azerbaijan. We are, with our two member states, Azerbaijan and Armenia, working for this stability and for also perspective for the whole region, South Caucasus.
What do you want to get out of the media today, the meeting today?
I think exactly this, that we need really to have a comprehensive approach with the security. It will never be enough to have hard security weapons. Just imagine 1 second what will happen if we have 800 of billions on investment in weapons, military system, without to have solid institutions, without to have effective democratic processes, with maybe disinformation and foreign interferences. What could happen in 10, 15 years with a lot of weapons and maybe an extremist party, maybe why not a pro-Russian party winning the election because of democratic backsliding? We need really to take both.
And last things regarding Azerbaijan. Azerbaijan have 40 journalists according to the Council of Europe Journalist Safety Platform. Highest numbers of imprisoned journalists. In Azerbaijan supposed to be host country for EPC in 2028 and Armenia in 2026. Yeah. What do you think as Secretary General? What's supposed to do by host country to release these journalists or organize something?
It is a strong signal to have a strong integration of Azerbaijan and Armenia in the European family, but it is also linked with commitments. It is linked with obligations, and as a member states of the Council of Europe, not observers, as a member states, Azerbaijan and Armenia and Georgia also, by the way, to take all the South Caucasus, must commit to the European Convention on Human Rights, must accept and execute the decisions of the European Court of Human Rights. It is our role, and it's exactly what we do. That's the only way to do this and to achieve this is never to cut the ties, to address all issues, and to try to make progress together.
Thank you.
Thank you. One question at a time, please.
Relationship between Georgia and the organizations. Are you going to have the contact with our Prime Minister? Attending?
I will have the contact. First thing that I want to underline in this context, we should never forget that for Europe, for the continent, our first line of defense is democratic security. Solid institutions, solid democratic processes, and that's what matters the most for the security of the continent. I say this because just imagine we are investing now a lot, and that's right, in military defense, weapons, a military system, 800 billions. What would happen if we do not invest at the same time in democratic security? Just imagine 1 second, a lot of weapons, but democratic backsliding, disinformation, foreign interferences in the election, and maybe just one day an extremist party, maybe a pro-Russian party winning the election in 10 years in any kind of country in Europe. I mean, that must be important for us to work together for a solid democratic security for Europe. About Georgia and about the South Caucasus, I think that, Georgia is a member of the Council of Europe. That means that Georgia decided to commit and to accept and to commit to the European Convention of Human Rights. It is a high commitment, and we have also high expectations. That means to execute all the decisions of the European Court of Human Rights, always to be in contact, always to work together, to have some
please talk about the peace process between Azerbaijan and Armenia. How would you evaluate the process?
I think I commend the steps that have been made for the peace process between Azerbaijan and Armenia. Here also we have with Azerbaijan and Armenia 2 members of the Council of Europe. I had the privilege and the honor to have Prime Minister Pashinyan in Strasbourg the last days. I had conversations with President Aliyev in New York last week and also yesterday. I think now it is a very good progress, good step for stability and peace in the whole region. It may open perspective for the population of stability. It's extremely important for the European continent, not only for the South Caucasus, but for all the European continent.
So, will you communicate with Georgian PM today?
Sorry?
Will you communicate with Georgian Prime Minister today?
You know, as a Secretary General of the Council of Europe, I'm open to all contact with everybody. And clearly we will have also a contact with the Prime Minister of Georgia.
Thank you.
Thank you.